News, I'm Hope Duggar.
Broadcasting live from the KSHP studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. It's time to get on the right side of sports betting. It's time for the Odds Couple.
Welcome to the Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 radio. This is already turning into a circus act. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. This show is about sports betting, namely how to put money into your pocket. I'm on a streak, 19 wins, 10 losses, my last 29 plays. My name is Scott Pritchard. I'm a professional sports bettor handicapper featured on my site, pritchardspicks.com, joined by a special guest, royalty in the house today. Owner, operator of Vegas Video Network, the executive producer here, Scott Whitney. Happy Monday!
Scott Pritchard, I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait to talk about overs and unders.
Overs and unders?
Because I know stuff.
Money lines.
Lines, totals, money lines.
Numbers,
and I'm going to tell you how to do it. Remember,
odds.
you used to say that all the time, remember?
Yeah, at least you knew I was listening.
Remember that show? Let that
bet.
show go. Let's bet.
It was so great that it got canceled.
We had to take it off. You know why? Because these hordes of women kept showing up right before the show. They're like, can I have some of Scott's piece? Does I want a little bit of Scotty? No.
You're half right. The ladies
want
would
a little
show up
bit.
because of the strapping stud horse Jacob Cannon,
who
was
offered
the
to kick
co-host
your-
on that show.
You guys almost went to Dukes today. I thought you guys
Well,
were
we
going to
do.
fight it out.
Well, in fact, we will.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I bet on it? I'm going to bet the over-under.
He bought himself some time, 57 minutes.
Yeah.
It's go time!
Basically, I'm going to bet the over-under on everything we talk about today.
Now, the
That's
fact
all
that-
I know.
Well, the question I have for you is, you've been tracking this show for the past 3 to 4 years. You're here religiously every day.
Yeah, not every day.
Every other day.
Most days.
Physically, you're here every day.
I am physically here every day.
Have you learned
It's a
anything?
good thing I can't hear you in my headphones because, Al.
Have you learned anything from a sports betting
I
standpoint?
think I have. I think I've learned. Well, I didn't know what over-under was before. I know what money lines are. I know what side bets. I know what what's that thing where you bet on goofy stuff?
Prop bets?
Prop bets. I know prop
Or
bets.
goofy things.
Or
Dodger,
goofy bets.
Dodger betting. Betting on the Dodgers.
So I know about goofy bets. I understand. I'm actually going to take advantage of one of your techniques a little bit later. I'm not going to tell you which one, though.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What technique? Are you talking sports?
Yeah. No, how you date women who can't swim and then ask them to go swimming. I'm going to use that technique. You're like the Black Widow. Come on, let's go to a pool party. Get in. Seems like a mean way to meet people, but what do I know? I don't run a pool business.
Tell me about the network. How's it going?
Oh, Vegas Video Network. Horrible. I'm actually shutting it down today because of this. Because I realize up close to you, you're really a frightening man. And I shouldn't have that on the network.
Do
It's
not cross
right.
me. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not going to do
Because
it.
you're just one jab away from exit stage left.
Right, I've seen what you did to your girlfriend, so I'm not getting in your izzy, man. That's going good. You know, we're having fun here at KSHP. Al is here helping us out. We call him Silent Al.
Silent Al?
Yeah, he doesn't say much, but look at him.
I
Look at
always,
him.
Al, the board man, doesn't have a last name, but he is a trained professional. Al, appreciate you being here.
He's just looking at the meters. Do you know what those meters do? He's doing. Wow, I like that motion. It's kind of a mambo here. So yeah, it's going good. We've got good people working here like yourself. Ouch. How'd that feel? Good. Good.
Did your hand hurt?
It's like hitting marble. Yeah.
You're listening to the Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 radio, live and worldwide, Vegas Video Network. It's very cool. The shows are archived. We talk sports betting. I'm featured all over my own site, pritchardspicks.com. Opt in today for free daily picks. Some of the information is free. Some of the information you do have to pay for. I do have a sports betting seminar coming up again at Harrah's on the Strip. Friday, September 6th, it's opening weekend for pro football.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Pro
Maybe
football.
we'll stream that live.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a little pay-per-view action.
I like that idea.
Do you know of anyone at
I don't
Vegas
know
Video
anybody
Network?
who does that. But
Have you heard of pay-per-view?
I've heard of pay-per-view. Usually it's a late night thing.
So maybe we could have a studio audience.
Studio audience,
People
pay-per-view.
that pay from, we had people from Maryland, California, Missouri,
Right.
Arizona
That's
at my
one of your
last workshop.
Well, one of the challenges is if they're not here, then they can't take advantage of that. But if you do a live stream, they can be anywhere. Right?
I like it. So we would do it right from the studio.
I think so.
Okay,
Why
cool.
not?
Great.
You could bring some people in there, so you could have some interaction there. But then we also could do the live stream and do the live chat like we're doing here right now. worldwide. It'd be pretty cool.
I like it a lot. In fact, maybe this is something we should talk about
Off air.
You know we are on right now, right?
Oh, I thought we were rehearsals. I thought this was mic check. No? God, you guys are right on time, huh? That's good. I'm sorry.
You can also check me out on VegasInsider.com. I was ready to say Vegas Video Network. It's imprinted. It's stamped, tattooed on my mind. VegasInsider.com. I've been on that site for the past 12 years. I love the site because the plays are time-stamped and documented. I really like it when I'm on a winning streak, not so much when I'm on a losing streak. Tim Donaghy, former NBA official, reached out to me a few weeks ago, has his own sports betting site, refpicks.com. I'm one of the featured handicappers on that site as well. We're going to be touching base with Tim Donaghy occasionally on this show. Tomorrow, Mark Mayer, the main man at Gaming Today, sports editor, the Las Vegas's, Nevada's only sports betting newspaper, 40,000 circulation, and they're online as well. And then Eva Futch, the legendary loving widow of the late, great Eddie Futch, Hall of Fame boxing trainer, will be joining us on Wednesday. Lem Banker, I just spoke with him again this morning. He's going to be joining us on Fridays for football season. Lem Banker, an icon, 86 years old, came to Vegas in 1958, broke, went on to make millions of dollars, documented on TV, documented Las Vegas Review-Journal. Matt Yeomans from the RJ will be joining me as well. But today, I have Scott.
But today we're just going to skip this show. We might not even archive this. There's no reason for it.
Well, I want to get started.
Let's do it.
About 12 minutes into it, I thought, let's get started.
Let's go ahead and go now.
With What Say You?
Okay.
The San Antonio Spurs, world class, kicking ass, 3-2, best-of-7 series. They're up. Now it's basically 1 to 2 games to go. The next 2 games are in Miami, but the San Antonio Spurs looking good, feeling good. What say you?
Did you watch the game?
Parts,
Which
bits
part?
and pieces. I had a second half bet.
Why?
So I watched the second half.
The whole second half?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Were you surprised that they went from being down 1 to down, about 17 or 18, and then caught up to about, 8 or 9 at the end? I was surprised.
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all, because that's the nature of the game. I mean, they talk about streaks. It's very streaky. But when you're talking about a 19-1 run, which the Spurs had at one time during that game, you're basically talking 6 baskets. 6, 7 baskets times 2 times 3-point baskets. So it's basically getting 4 or 5 stops and then making 5, 6 baskets in a row. So it's not that big of a deal. It happens all day, every day. It's just magnified because it's the NBA Finals.
Who's the cat who's hitting all the 3-point shots?
Danny Green, North Carolina product.
So he got a lot of juice on the broadcast talking about that. He was something for something. I mean, he was almost was he perfect last night?
No.
What was he?
But remember,
66%? What was it? It was,
what's
a
interesting, he set the record, all-time record as far as three-pointers made in the NBA Finals, and we've only played 5 games.
Right.
What's interesting is it's one of those things where he's an obscure player, went to North Carolina but picked in the second round, and was cut by a couple of teams. Greg Popovich, San Antonio Spurs, picked him up, molded him into a role player. He's a dead-eye shot from the three-point line. In fact, when I went to see the Laker girls play back in November, I was sitting 5 rows behind the Spurs bench hanging out with Manu Ginobili's wife.
Really?
She couldn't have been less interested. Not only in me.
In you or the game?
Not only in me, but the game. I mean, Manu Ginobili is the man.
Where's he from?
24 points. He's from... Come on, everyone knows Argentina.
Okay, I have no idea.
Yeah, I forget offhand.
He's not a good-looking man.
They're an international
How's his wife
flavor
look?
team. She is a very nice lady. I was intrigued by the fact that she couldn't have been less interested.
But
less
is
interested.
she good-looking?
She is let's see. Yeah, she's an attractive lady. Sure.
Would you date her? Probably
she's
too old.
married.
Too old.
And something about she doesn't date when she's married.
Fair
I know
enough.
this because I asked her. No. They have twins. And anyway, how do we get on this topic?
I don't know, but here's what I want to know about this 3-point guy. So they were talking a lot about it on the broadcast. And my question to you is twofold. First, do they think, or do you think his team believes that he will be that good the rest of the series?
You have to understand that 33% is all you have to hit from the 3-point line. It's the equivalent of hitting 50% from inside of 3 feet,
Right.
inside of the 3-point line. Actually,
Inside
if
3
you're only
feet.
hitting 33% from 3 feet, I mean, like Jacob,
playing-
you're going to end up in a studio somewhere. Okay, you're not going to be playing pro basketball. Why is everyone laughing except Jacob?
No.
He can't wait to
You
kick
can't
my
wait to
ass
kick your
after
ass
the
when you come
show.
out. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt
Go
him,
easy,
Hammer.
killer. Cujo. Yeah, what you have, no, there's no way. Of course, I would have said this 2 games ago. There's no way this guy can sustain this level of continuity and consistency from the 3-point line. But here's an original thought. How about guarding the guy?
Right.
How about that?
Well, how come? So wait. So does who's your coach?
Danny
Popovich.
Green.
No,
Yeah,
Popovich.
Greg Popovich.
So is he going to be thinking, hey, for my next game, I'm going to actually count more on this cat to do 3-point shooting? Are they
No,
gonna,
absolutely not. In fact, what
so
happens
they think
is,
it's a fluke.
no, they don't think it's a fluke either. They're all about the system, and they believe in the system. So they don't go into the game saying, "Okay, Danny, we want you to knock down the threes." Sometimes you hit them, sometimes you don't. It just so happens that he has been hot. I wanted to back up just for a second because when I saw the Laker girls play back in November with Manu's wife, I have to say that it came down to the very last play. It was a 1-point Laker lead.
Right.
I had the Spurs plus the 1, so I have a push. But 9 seconds to go, Popovich calls timeout. They drew up a play, last play of the game. Danny Green, wide open look. On the right side is where that's his spot. His shooting percentage from the right wing from the 3-point line is off the hook insane. And he nailed it for the game winner. Winner, chicken dinner. I've been eating chicken ever since. But the idea
You ate
here
quite a
is
bit of chicken
it's-
this weekend, by the way.
It's tough. Did you run out of food?
We had a whole bunch of chicken. It's all gone. I'm like, I only had a couple pieces. Did you see, Scott?
The shrimp was good.
It was
as
good.
Well.
That's what I heard. I
And-
watched you eat it. It looked great. It looked tasty and spicy and
You
yummy.
snooze, you lose, man.
I just wasn't going to put my hand by. I was afraid I was going to pull back a stump.
There's no way that that Danny Green, as good as he is, can sustain this level of continuity and consistency. I mean, he's broken the all-time record. The previous record was 22. I believe he's made 25
Right.
three-point baskets already in this series. We've only played 5. We could play potentially 7.
So are the Heat going to change their game plan to kind of get more in his face?
I would have thought in the fourth quarter. I mean, I'm tracking the game,
Right.
and Danny Green missed a wide open look on the left wing, but he was wide ass open. It's like, hello, how many shots does this guy have to make? So it goes to the team concept.
Right.
They're doing a lot to get him free. But, I mean, he's one player. And, again, I go back to the system because Manu Ginobili had a great game last night. He's been struggling. Even the
Yeah.
big 3, Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, they will struggle. And a couple of games ago they struggled, and they still won by 36
Right.
points. So there's no way to predict that Danny Green is going to come out and continue to be as hot as he is. But it's been quite an accomplishment up to this point.
What are the what's been the difference in scores for the first few games? It's been sizable.
Well, what's interesting is the point spread has hovered right around 1, 1.5, 2 when you're in San
Right.
Antonio.
And now
But
it's-
conversely, when you're in Miami, it's been 5.5, 6. Now it's 7, 7.5.
Right.
So that's handicapping the NBA. For instance, you would think, wow, the Spurs are up 3 games to 2.
Right.
But it goes back to my original point. The Spurs get no respect. That's where guys like me come in, pounce, take advantage. I didn't play the game yesterday, but I have to look at the fact that the Heat, I just look at the numbers and the odds. It's 3 games to 2, San Antonio. So who's favored to win the series, knowing that it's 3 games to 2 San Antonio?
See, I would
First
still
team
think
to
it's the Heat
You would think it's the Heat, and you
because
would be
they got 2 more games in their home court.
you would be wrong. The San Antonio Spurs are but you're not.
Is that really, you're not being a very good host.
I couldn't wait. I've been waiting 4 years
That wasn't
to
very
say
nice.
this.
Could you shut his mic off, please? Jeez Louise. You could have said, I understand that, Scott. That's a good idea. It's a good concept. It makes
No,
sense.
you're dead wrong.
Most people would have thought that. Hell, I would have thought that. But you're wrong. Thank you. What a sweetie.
I didn't know you had such thin skin.
My God.
Wow.
All right,
Well,
go ahead.
no,
Just
I'm
go ahead and
I'm
chit-chat
just
there, Mrs.
reporting-
Fourth Man.
I'm just reporting the facts. And the fact is the San Antonio Spurs, because a lot of people
So
would
the
actually
Spurs are favored now?
a small favorite.
Because they only have to win 1 game.
They only have to win 1, even though they're a good-sized dog.
Actually, if I'd have thought that through, I
7.5.
probably would have got that too. I was
Yeah.
just trying to help you out.
Is that right?
Not really.
I was going to say, because you're not doing a very good job up to this point. But it's early. Plenty of time to
Am I
redeem
hurting
yourself.
yourself over 20 minutes in? And I've already
20 minutes? I thought we were about done.
feels like a lot longer, I know.
No, the
This
San
sports
Antonio
talk
Spurs,
stuff's hard. You got to know stuff.
The
Hell
Sa-
with that. So much easier just to kind of go off the side, just talk, like I normally do.
Well, the thing, I love your show. Tell me their shows.
I don't want to talk about it.
I love your show so much, I forgot the name. Is it Living in Las Vegas? Okay.
Yeah.
Longest and you can drink.
Running. Yes.
You can drink on your
Which
show.
also makes me much funnier.
Well, before we went on the air, Scott was out of his element. He said, "Hey, where's the vodka, man?"
Well, I wanted to be like Daryl Wright. If you can come in drinking a pound of vodka, I mean, why can't I do that?
Well, you'd have to bring in Amanda
Blow.
And or your very lovely wife, Melissa.
A little different, by the way. Let's go ahead and make that distinction right now. Wanna?
Why not?
Why not? Because I want to go home. I want my wife to actually stay married to me. I like being married.
You're a lucky man.
I am.
Melissa is an absolute sweetheart. She's
great.
beautiful.
Yes.
She's talented. She's smart.
Smart.
That's not easy to find.
No, it's a little scary, actually. Sometimes that smart part becomes a pain in the butt.
So how did you two lovebirds meet?
Online dating.
Is that right?
I swear to you. I love online dating.
Because of the filter?
It's like sports. I'm just trying to get back into the sports thing. It's a competition, right? Have you ever done online dating?
Yes.
Have you really?
You bet!
On which site?
Match.com?
I was on Matchmaker.com, which that's where I met Melissa. And, God, I just loved it. I was on it for about 8 months. I did Matchmaker, Match, I think one other one. And it became kind of a sales and marketing test for me, which I just love that kind of world, right? So it got to the point where whenever I met somebody, I would be like, hey, what are the other guys doing? I would be doing, basically competitive analysis. And all guys do the same thing. They check out that woman's profile, they look at her picture, and they write something like, hey, you look hot. Check me out, let's get together. Same thing. It's just like being in a bar. So what I learned was never talk about their picture. I never did. So I would read their profile. Bing! There's a good idea. Read the profile. I would write something really short, real pithy about one little piece and send it off. Crushed it.
I like it.
It was awesome. I had 3 phases. Phase 1, had a gal for a while. Nice girl. Didn't work out. Phase 2, met a gal. Nice girl, kind of crazy, didn't work out. Phase 3, on the first 2 phases, I was single sequential, meaning I would only date one girl. I wouldn't date a bunch of women. So I'm like, screw that. So in phase 3, I'm like, here we go. Let's just get at it. So I was dating 5 women at the same time. I dated the sister of a monkey.
Is that right?
Yeah, Mickey Dolenz,
why
the drummer.
am I not surprised?
She's a big Harley Davidson rider up in the mountains of Santa Cruz. It was great. And that's where I met Melissa.
It sounds to me like you miss this online dating.
No. Not anymore.
But you saw it as a marketing ploy,
yeah, because
competitive analysis.
Yeah, you're just trying to separate yourself from the competitive herd. So you want to behave differently than all the other idiots out there going, hey, I like your picture, come check me out, which is what everybody was doing. So I had a ball, but I couldn't keep up with all the names. It was really pretty difficult.
$1.62. $1.62
is how much I'm worth so far to the show.
is what I invested on my last Match.com
$1.62
coffee date.
Oh, man. Well,
I do coffee.
No.
10 minutes.
I do drinks.
Time is too important. 10 minutes, because ladies know within a relatively short period of time if they're going to sleep with you, they make up their mind early, and our mind is already made up.
Right.
We
would like to. It would be good.
So 10 minutes. All right, time is of the essence. But ladies, they're crafty. They're creative. They'll try to coerce you into lunch, dinner. The next thing you know, you're going to Jersey Boys, spending a ton of money. It's like,
not
so
if
either
you're
selling them or they're selling you.
You could probably get a discount ticket here at KSHP.
I've heard.
Yeah.
The shopping network,
Yeah,
I've heard good things.
Right. So I think that your first mistake is coffee.
That's what they say.
I wouldn't do that.
I have a strong opinion, but go ahead.
No, I did dating. I did dating. I did, drinks at a bar, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Drinks are expensive. A lot of serial daters out there just looking for free drinks, free food. You're the kind of guy, like every other guy, you talk about being different. Most guys make the mistake of always buying drinks, and you know what?
I didn't say that.
The less you spend, the more they respect you.
Oh,
that's why I
for
spend
the love
nothing.
Of God. That's why you've got all this respect. How's that second marriage going? Good. How'd that first marriage go? Well. What are you doing now?
Life.
The guy you're with now, you're trying to kill. The job that you're giving
How many
her.
times have you been married, my friend?
Once. Twice.
Oh, exactly.
Twice.
So you've been married twice. I've been married twice.
How long have you been married? How many years?
11.
I've been married for 19. That's my joke. Oh, you took my joke, you rat.
You had a joke?
Oh, man.
You had a joke?
That one you just said. Actually, your best material is mine. Okay. So I can't believe you took my joke. That was so well set up, too. God, this is the longest 25 minutes of my life.
Maybe had we rehearsed a little bit, I wouldn't have stepped on your joke that I use on the stage, LA Comedy Club, Bally's, Las Vegas, Nevada. You use it here. And I said, Scott.
I've been using it for 20 years.
Scott.
No, that's not true.
You gave it to me. I said, Scott, do you mind if I call you Scott? I said, listen, am I able to
Usually
use that?
It's
He
Mr.
said,
Whitney,
yeah.
but that's okay. It's
Mr.
fine.
Whitney, sir, to
mind,
me.
You don't mind.
But yeah, you gave me authorization, permission. I signed the documentation that I can use that.
Yes.
Instead of 19, I made it 11. I made it my own. It gets laughs. It's the only laugh I get. All right. Anything else you want to talk about as far as sports betting, and how it relates to Match.com?
How it relates to Match.com.
Matchmaker.com.
No. I do want to. Well, was the first games at Miami? Did they have that high of a spread as well? It's -7 now.
Well, no, it's a little higher now.
It was
than
-5
it was then
before?
because the farther you, and that's counterintuitive because you would think again the Spurs being up and they've already won in Miami,
Right.
But there's the perception that the cream rises to the top. Talent generally wins out, and it's true in a 7-game series. That tied in with the trend that Brett Grant and I talk about every day, the zigzag theory. When the Heat, a good team, the team that won the championship a year ago, 3rd consecutive year they've been to the finals, whenever they lose, they generally, every time in the last 8 times now, 9 times, they come back, not only win, they cover. That's why the line is shaded. Desperate teams do desperate things. They're facing elimination. Their back is against the wall. Perception, not saying it's reality, perception is they will respond.
Now, are you going to bet on any of the 2 games coming up?
I don't know. It depends. I bet numbers, not teams.
I
So in
understand.
this case, if I were to play it, I would be against the move. If I were to, points mean more than opinions. If I could find an 8, I would take the Spurs plus the 8 because I believe in what the San Antonio Spurs are doing. Not to say that the Heat wouldn't win. I would be surprised if they win by 9. But there are no 8s out there. It's 7. There are a couple of 7.5s on the game right now.
Right.
But I take it on a case-by-case basis. Last night I bet the second half total under 96. Lost. It happens. But it's interesting because I was talking to Dink before the series started. I said, I respect this time of year, every possession's magnified, and they try to slow it down and play in mud. But at the same time, I felt, especially the past few games now, the San Antonio Spurs are having success because they're playing small ball. And the Miami Heat, they want to get out. Small ball meaning they want to get out and run. And they want to move in transition.
Okay.
And that leads to quick shots. Forget the shooting percentages. It's really about shot attempts, free throw attempts, field goal attempts, because you can't get to the over. You can shoot 60%, but if you only put up 30 shots, you're still not going to get the over. So percentages are meaningless. It really has to do with attempts. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Wow, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
That was good. But so you don't know if you're going to bet on anything. You don't have any. You don't have
generally speaking, for the NBA Finals, because you're talking about one game every 2 days.
Are there any prop bets on this stuff?
A lot of prop bets.
But and you used
in fact,
to,
early
you
on,
do a lot of prop bets,
but they
don't you?
limit you. It's a nickel. They let you bet $500. That's it. But the juice is so outrageous. For instance, LeBron James. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs have proven this for years. They will take out the marquee player, LeBron James, as an example.
Right.
The over/under for him, 28.5, 28, 27, 26.5. I believe he's only exceeded it one time.
Right.
One time only.
Right.
And so yeah, I like.
Are you
props.
surprised that he's been shut down as much as he has?
Not at all. Not
Why?
at all, because of the Spurs. If you watch the Spurs all year long, when they played a star
Player.
They contained him. They're going to take the ball out of his hands and make someone else beat you. So history has a way of repeating itself. But having said that, you can only bet a nickel. Number one. Number two, the juice. They inflate the juice. The sports books are getting to be such whores. It's pretty sickening.
Let me ask you this. So I think a couple shows ago you had mentioned, or I think Brett had mentioned, that LeBron was double teamed most of the time. Did I understand that correctly?
It depends on the game. I mean, if he's in the post, he's an animal, but he doesn't want to play in the post more times than not.
Because
so it's a simple game. Because it's a lot of work.
Right?
It is. And plus he's going to get double teamed. But what I like about LeBron, so many different ways he can beat you. I have a lot of respect for the guy. He can beat you by passing, rebounding, defending, and
but
scoring.
basically every time he goes in the post, he gets double teamed, you're saying. So why wouldn't the team's plan be get your ass in the post? And that'll free somebody else up to have an open shot. Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, for the same reason it's late in the game and you're the man. For the same reason that Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan and LeBron James is no Michael Jordan. As good as LeBron is, late in the game, he'll settle for the outside jump shot. Michael Jordan would always go to the basket knowing that one of two things are going to happen.
You get fouled.
He's going to get fouled, get to the line, get a three-point play, or he's going to convert.
Right.
That's the difference. Now, but understand, my friend, it takes a lot of energy and effort over 48 minutes, and you're playing 40 minutes, and you have a big target on your back because he is the man. So it's easy for me and you and Al to criticize LeBron James, but I think we need to commend the team defense of the San Antonio Spurs, and it's something that they've done all year. People are saying, wow, I can't believe the Spurs hitting all these threes. The fact is they were fourth in all of basketball, three-point shooting.
What is, in your opinion, what's LeBron's strongest part of his game?
The fact that he's an unselfish player. So many, as I said, so many different ways he can beat you. Michael Jordan was primarily a scorer.
Yeah.
Okay, a very good defender, but he was a scorer. LeBron rebounds, plays defense, scores. The fact that he's unselfish and he gets everyone else involved, but that's almost to a fault. That's his strength. It's a little bit of a weakness too, Scott, because come late in the game, you want him to take over and go to the basket.
So that's basically opposite of what Kobe Bryant does, from what I understand, right?
Why is it that my phone vibrates and you pick up your phone?
Because I wanted to make sure mine didn't go on, right? Because I'm not very good at what I tell you guys what to do, but I forgot to tell. All right, I have a question about this concept of consensus. All right, sports betting thing. So I've been learning a lot from you. Couldn't keep a straight face. Tried to learn a lot, but I'm really not. Because I'm not very bright. It's a numbers thing. So so what's the line? -7 for
the Miami Heat at home.
The Heat. Okay. So let's say I was looking at one of these websites that shows the lines and all that kind of stuff, and they had this really cool thing that I thought that provided me insight called consensus, and it basically said, here's where the money's coming in. And you basically have told me before, and I'm not going to use the right nomenclature, but basically if the money comes in a lot on the Heat, they're going to move the line to compensate for their risk, basically, right? So, an example, if say everybody's betting on the Heat that they're going to cover the 7, then the sports book would say, well, I'm going to make it -6.5 or whatever.
No, they make it higher.
Or higher.
If the money's coming in on Miami. If the money's coming on San Antonio, they're going to move it to encourage Miami betting.
Right. So give me an example, because I saw something here that did what you told me would happen, but then you said that number means nothing.
Exactly.
And I want this to get out there because I was surprised by that. So let's use the Heat. Let's say everybody's coming in and saying the Heat will cover that 7 points. So what would you normally say?
If the money is coming in on Miami, and that's the key. Forget the consensus. That's a big crock.
But I want to talk about that because they're putting that on websites, and there's got to be a reason for it. It reminds me a little bit of, on roulette tables, they have every number that hits. That number is complete. That listing is
ingenious.
complete. It's brilliant.
Ingenious.
But it means nothing.
Right.
But
like
it's
that
brilliant.
little ball has a memory.
Right. But it's the smartest thing they ever did.
Right.
They've increased their take because they put up this thing. People are like, oh, my God, they got 4 in a row red. It's got to be black. No, it doesn't. It's 50-50. It's actually 49, whatever it is. But, okay. So this consensus thing kind of reminds me of that vibe a little bit because, again, let's go with the Heat thing. It's -7. Everybody is betting that they're going to cover the point spread. They're going to win by 8 or whatever the number is. Right. Okay. You would say if it was smart money coming in on this, which way would that line go?
Well, smart money is the only thing that matters.
Right.
Joe Public or some clown.
But that's what the consensus is.
A consensus is some clown on a sports site.
Right.
His opinion.
Right.
All right, who's betting $10, $20, $30, and the sports books couldn't care less. And to illustrate your point, because about a week ago, Scott, it was a fair question, and I want to address it here because the consensus on a sports betting site was on one side where the line had moved opposite
direction.
Of course.
And Jacob and I were sitting there going, I understand. I thought I understood the comment. I've been listening to this stuff for a couple of years now. I don't understand why it's moving.
You're only as good as the information that you're getting. So if you're asking trailer park trash, who do you like in the game, you're going to get a consensus. But I would rather ask professional sports bettors because those are the people driving the number.
But give an example. So instead of just saying consensus in this, we're not really helping anybody without explaining what happened. So let's use this upcoming game as an example.
Okay.
So it's -7. People are actually, so the smart money, you people are betting it, and what would happen to the line?
I'm not betting it, but if
did,
the line moves, that's why it's important when you bet to understand what the opening number is,
right.
7, 7.5. Educate yourself. Follow the money, FTM.
The opening is 7 right now, right?
The opening is 7, but what's interesting is the line was not this high early in the series. Now the San Antonio Spurs have proven that they're the real deal, and they're still not getting any respect.
Okay.
And that's why if I were to play it, in this case, I would buck the trend. I would buck the zigzag if I were to play it. I'm not unless I can steal an 8. I bet numbers, not
But
teams.
I want to use an example.
I will give you an example.
So but my example. So let's say everybody's saying that the Heat are going to cover the 7. Right? They're getting 7.
If all the money's coming in on Miami minus 7,
right.
the sportsbooks have no choice but to move it to 7.5, to move it to 8.
Right.
And we've talked about a million times on this show, you want to be on the move early, minus 7,
right.
or against it late, plus 8. As an example, same thing applies in the total. The total was 87.5 in some of these games. It's been bet up to 92 because both teams are playing small ball.
Right.
Now, the consensus, this is important, Scott. I'm glad you brought this up because I've always said never take advice from a trailer park manager unless you want to be a trailer park manager. The sports books, guys like myself, don't care what the consensus is on a bunch of small-time sports bettors who are sport fans who may not even bet. The consensus on a sports betting site, well, everyone likes this side, but the money's against. Well, you want to respect the money. Screw the consensus. The consensus doesn't mean squat.
So that's the problem with this consensus number on that particular website. I'm assuming lots of websites do that, not just the one
they
that we
do.
looked
And
at.
my professional opinion is when you see a consensus on a sports betting site, bet against it. Bet against it. And that's consistent with what you saw.
Yeah.
Okay, you and Jacob thinking, well, the consensus says this side, but the line has moved against. Yeah, there's a reason why. Because the wise guys are not on the frickin' consensus.
So the problem
guys I've never done a consensus.
Right. So the problem with the consensus is you don't know the people who make up those numbers.
Yes, you do.
Well, if I don't. There's no way to know whether
the perception is you're going to think, wow, there's validity there, and there's not.
Right. There could be, let's say there's 200 bets for, taking the minus 7, just for example.
Right.
But I don't know if those bets are $5 bets or $50 bets or $5,000 bets. There's no way for me to know that.
But even then, it doesn't matter. Just because you're thinking in terms of, I know too many people who have money that have made money in business, but they're complete suckers when it comes to betting. So the real thing is when you make a bet, do you change the number? A la like me. I don't care. I mean, you shouldn't care if I win or lose. Bottom line is I'm a sharp bettor because every time I make a bet, I move the number.
You do.
All right.
So you've actually personally done a bet. You bet a dime.
Right. Which is 1,000.
Right. Look at me knowing
Nickel,
stuff.
500.
So you bet a dime on some game, and you've actually seen the line move right after you place that bet.
90% of the time. And if they don't move it, I take it personally and I pop it again. And then when I cash the ticket the next day, they bust my balls and say, listen, that's frowned upon. I said, what, winning?
What, double?
No one's
you
ever...
can't bet twice?
No.
Why?
In fact, I have to proactively go to the supervisor and say, listen,
why?
I've waited 5 minutes because that's a great question.
So that kind of brings up the whole thing.
They say, listen, we have a limit of $500 on a total, so why are you betting it twice? I said, I don't know. Why didn't you move the number then if you had a problem with it?
No ego in sports betting then, really?
No, well, there is. There is. there isn't. You're thinking that there is based on that comment.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, listen, if I bet a nickel on a total for a second-half basketball game and they don't move the number, which 90% of the time they will. If they don't, I'll pop it again.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Well, because you'll get tossed. I've been tossed. They say, we don't like that. It's frowned upon.
And you're limited to a $500 bet on a second-half bet?
On a lot of totals. Now, in the playoffs, it's bumped up. It's more than that, okay? But regular season, which is what I do all day, every day.
Right.
And what you look at is the next day. I mean, they've busted my chops many times. And so, like, Dink will never double pop a game because he doesn't want to get tossed. But I like to push the envelope. And I always play, I didn't know.
That's why you're still here, by the way. You keep pushing this envelope. You're going to actually keep me on your network. It's got her all beat
the next day, all right? So I give you countless examples. I mean, I'll bet a game on a second-half total, NBA, and I'll wait. And they don't move it, so I'll pop it again. They have to authorize each and every bet when you're betting limits.
Oh, okay.
So they authorize it. And then it's like they moved it a half point.
Why do they have to authorize it if they've already
because
said
it's
what the
a limit.
is? But you hit the limit.
You hit the limit, but they have to authorize it.
Why?
Because it's a limit bet.
So what?
You're going to leave it up to a ticket writer making $10 an hour
Well,
to authorize it?
So doesn't that slow things down?
Of course it does.
So if they're so worried about the limit, why don't they just lower the limit so they don't have to, so they can just
That's why they're $500 limits. They're just so.
But every time you bet $500 on a $500
on a total,
somebody has to approve that.
Yes, the eye in the sky has to approve it every single time.
Crazy. How many?
But it doesn't take that long. But the idea is, let's not get off topic here. When I do that, and then I wait a couple 3 minutes, and it's still the same number, and it's like, wow, in the islands it's a point and a half less, and I respect the islands a lot more than I respect Vegas, the independent sports books.
Why?
Because in the islands is where the big money is bet at reduced vig.
So they're more at threat of getting hurt.
No, they have a sharp number. That is sharp. That is sharp. So you want to compare what this sports book is doing that's taken 500. That's why they limit you to 500, because you have disparity. That's why I don't like betting at LVH. Jay Carnegie, sharp bookmaker, sharp Henny. He'll take big money, which is great if you have an opinion. I have to have an opinion, and I have to get the best of it. So nickels and dimes all day, every day, it adds up at the end of the day, end of the week.
Is Jay allowed to bet elsewhere?
I don't know.
He'd be good at that, wouldn't he?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because
based on the fact that
he's the one creating
So
the
you
line.
think a cashier at a bank is good with money?
The cashier
You think
at the
a ticket writer at a mega resort
wait,
casino is good at
Yeah, the
sports betting?
cashier is not setting the line. Jay's setting the line. So basically, every day you analyze the game and you come up with a line, right?
Yes.
That's basically how it is. And then
Yes.
you compare your line to LVH's line as an example, right? Okay. So if you say that your line is measurably different, point and a half, whatever that number is, depending on the type of bet you want to do, you're like, hey, I have an advantage based upon my analytics. I'm going to place a bet, right?
Right.
So if I'm a guy who's a professional line creator, and I'm pretty good at it, right? And they're better during this time of the year than they are with the 160 games, right? They're a little bit more off.
Right.
But so if I'm Jay and my job is to create sharp lines, why wouldn't he be a good sports bettor? Why don't I just quit that and go, I'm going to go out and sports bet because I really know how to create a good line?
Jay is well respected, and most professionals love Jay Carnegie. I knew him when he was at Imperial Palace, but this is important. The sportsbook supervisors at all these sportsbooks, they don't set the line. They copy.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking
I'm talking
about the guy who actually sets the line.
The guy who sets the line, that's
is
done.
That Jay?
No.
Oh,
that's
see, I
what
didn't
I'm
know
saying.
that.
That is not Jay, and it's not any other sportsbook supervisor.
see,
That's
okay.
why these places wait. They just copy what's being done in the islands. They copy what's being done. They're so afraid to actually have an opinion. Why?
Wait.
Because they've been hammered. Go ahead.
So you're saying that at LVH, which is an independent book, right? They're not using Cantor Gaming or
Right.
William, whatever those
Right.
guys are called. William Hill, I think it is. And I think Stations has their own book. Is that right?
Well, stations, they have 10 to 13 properties,
And they're doing
when you
their own.
move the number at one place, it's universal.
Right, but they're independent. They're not using an outside source. Is that right?
Everyone, again, I just got done saying, everyone copies.
Wait, just answer my question. So some people have Cantor Gaming in their property.
Right.
Some people have William Hill in their property.
Stations.
What does Station have?
Station has stations.
That's what I mean.
Right.
They're independent. So now, are you
Well,
saying
have
that?
to-
Wait, hold on. Let me just
independent.
finish.
They're not
Hold on, let me
independent.
just
An independent
let me
book
finish
is
my
the
thought.
golden nugget. Well, yeah, but
Okay, well,
it's
that's fine.
misinformation.
Well, okay, so wait. So when Stations creates their line, they don't have a guy in a green hat figuring out the line. They're just going somewhere and copying it and maybe moving
Like
it a little
everyone
bit.
else.
Is that really what's happening?
But what happens is, if they are getting so much money on one side, they will shade it, and that's where I come in. I'll balance the action. I'll balance the scale because I bet numbers. I look for disparity.
So there's
all these
wait a
sports
minute.
books. There's
Wait a
not
minute.
much thought that goes into
Wait a
it.
minute. This is crazy to me. So you're
This
telling
really
me
surprises you.
It does, because I thought there was somebody for each one of the. So
I
Cantor
wish.
Gaming.
It used to be.
I
I wish
can't-
that were the case. That's why you would have a 3 at the Stardust and a 4 downtown.
So I
you don't have that.
Wait a minute. So who's using Cantor? Doesn't Venetian use Cantor?
A few places.
Okay, so somebody does. So some people here on this trip. So are you saying that there's not somebody at Cantor who is doing the same kind of analytics that you're doing and setting the line? Are you saying instead that they're just kind of sitting around having a beer and waiting for the islands?
Absolutely.
And then they're going to go, oh, the island's at
Absolutely.
1.5. I'm taking 1.5 to start.
Absolutely.
Really?
And that's why they drag their feet and don't post anything until
What?
it'll be posted on Sunday night, Monday morning. Okay, Monday afternoon. Now it's all settled. They're so scared about getting caught with their pants
So
down.
then they must have
This town has gotten so corporate.
Really?
Absolutely.
So they must
I'm
have.
fascinated that you're surprised by this.
Well, I've never
Okay.
placed a sports bet in my life.
Okay.
But if I would think that if I had a business model that's based upon getting the best of people like you, or people like Al, or idiots like me who bet $20, I would think pretty damn hard
Look
that
at the
I'd want
sportsbooks.
I'd want somebody like you.
Look at this.
Why wouldn't I hire someone like you?
Because I wouldn't take that position. I want to beat the sports books. Why would I want to set the line and get a salary? Or I might as well have a job, J-O-B,
I'm a very
just
good-
over book.
I'm a really good
You have a business, all right? Tax
fun to
laws
work with.
favor business owners. You are an absolute blast. You're a fun guy.
I am a fun guy. I'm a little fun guy.
Well, we're going to keep things moving on the odds couple.
A little
on
late for that, aren't we?
KSHP. I guess, is the show over yet?
That was a pretty interesting conversation, though.
Well-
I think I learned a lot right there.
Okay, great.
I can't believe those guys don't have their own guys analyzing that.
Absolutely not.
It's crazy.
They just simply copy.
So then they
what's
must
our-
have they must have then some sort of algorithm or something. So some sort of math in their head that says, okay, we're going to start at -7 for this game coming up, the Heat game. And the money comes in on whatever side. And so the Islands are starting to move their number. Do they usually move pretty much in parallel with the Islands?
They're a little bit late. That's where I come in.
But like this. But usually catch up.
Yeah, and in fact, just go to any sports betting website right now, and you'll see mostly sevens. You'll see a touch
Right.
of 7.5.
I saw sevens, yeah.
10, 15 years ago, you would see a 7, a 5.5. It was a lot easier back then, but now everyone's so universal. Everyone just copies what everyone else is doing.
Really?
No one wants to gamble. They're in the gambling business. They
Right.
don't want to gamble.
Huh.
They only want sucker money. They only want parlay players, teaser players.
And the other
Straight plays like me, straight players, professional players, they limit how much you can bet.
and they don't have to take your bet at all, right? It's
No,
a privilege.
I've talked to the gaming control about this, about sports books posting double lines. It happens all the time. I just gave an example 2 weeks ago.
Right. And that's, you were talking about having to use your card at some games, your player's card.
It's one thing to encourage me to have a player's card, but to say to me, because they want to know who you are, they want to track your play.
That's right.
And for them to say
That's
to
exactly
you,
what
for
they're
them
doing.
to say to me, well, it's no secret.
But that's
I mean,
right.
But
So,
it's good for them. It's not good for me.
Right.
Why would you want to be tracked? I mean, really.
Right. No, right. It's terrible for you, but that's exactly
But when
you're
they
right.
came to me and said we're encouraging you to get a player's card, I said, yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Right.
And then it gets to the point where we're strongly encouraging you to get a player's card
Right.
to one day Super Bowl weekend. Listen,
Right.
they told the ticket writer, we're not taking his action
Right.
unless he gets a player's card.
Right.
That's very nice.
Right. Well, because they're tracking you, and if
Right.
you beat them, they're going to say you have to go away now.
Well, and it's happened. So you have to play the
You've
game.
been- you've been
I've
kicked
been
out of-
tossed out of a lot of sports books. This isn't anything new.
You mean, but can you
have
go
you
back?
not been watching the show?
Nobody watches the show, Scott. I'm just trying to help you out a little bit here.
Go ahead. I'm listening. One time I'm going to listen.
What website? We got a live chat. What website would Scott recommend to look at other than his own? This is from Bob.
Bob, there is one website that's better than any other.
Right.
And it's pritchardspicks.com.
Right.
No, again, I'm going to tell you some specific website. Why would I send you to the competition?
Well, no. For instance, maybe Bob is like myself, who he's just trying to get up to speed before he starts to bet.
Okay.
Where would I go? Like I've seen, we've worked with covers before. That's where we go kind of for our lines a little bit, because it seems to be pretty comprehensive. But where should I go to learn the nomenclature, just the sports betting 101? What some of the things that you should be thinking about before you go in and start betting?
Well, it's a fair question, Bob, and we certainly appreciate you engaging us here at Vegas Video Network and AM 1400 Radio. I can tell you there is a wealth of information out there, but there are also a lot of false prophets.
Yep.
Okay, I'm one of the select few handicappers that is actually won sports handicapping contests in this town, but in the Superbook contest 3 years, 2 of those 3 years finished in the top 10, and last year they had 750 people ending up $1,500 each. So I walk the walk, I talk the talk. There's a difference between a handicapper and a scamdicapper and a professional sports bettor. So there are different sites. I mean, covers.com is good. A lot of the information is good. Pregame.com is good. VegasInsider.com is great because the plays are time-stamped and documented. We have 1 million views per day on that site. My site, I'm trying to do things a little bit differently. I'm big on educating people based on my 30 years of doing this. And Dink, my buddy featured in the movie Lay the Favorite starring Bruce Willis as Dink, he's been doing it for 40 years. We do, Dink joins me 2 to 3 times a year on the Strip, Harrah's, on educating people on how to bet sports, which I find interesting because at the end of the day, I find it offensive, quite frankly. I'm at the sports books every day, and people see me cash big tickets, and they always say, Scotty P, who do you like today? And it's offensive because I bust ass really researching, documenting.
You're spending hours
Exactly.
a day.
I'm doing the work, and you just want to know. At the end of the day, never mind. I just go to my site. I tell people to go to my site. Some of the information's free. Some of it you have to pay for. But ultimately, they just want to know.
Right.
They're going to ask the homeless guy, "Hey, who do you like?" So I mean,
they're asking you. They're asking the right guy, but they're not respecting.
Right.
The
Everyone
work
has an
involved.
opinion.
Right. I get that. Well, anybody gets that. I mean, I got people saying to me, "Hey, would you mind doing this for free?" Yeah, I would mind. And the answer is no. Not no, but hell no.
Or how about people who bet sports coming to me and saying, Scott, I respect what you've done. I've tracked what you've done. Let me buy you lunch. It's like, really?
Right.
I mean, $10.
And
I charge $195 an hour.
You know what's
for
fascinating
one-on-one
about that is that there are career people, counselors, who are providing that advice. They're saying, call up a potential mentor and invite them out to lunch. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? You need to pay somebody to learn how to do this kind of stuff. Quit being an idiot.
Well, here's something that I like to tell people. If Donald Trump and you went out for lunch, who should pick up the tab?
Trump.
Absolutely not.
For me, because
Donald Trump is not going to learn anything from you.
He wants my help. Oh, he needs my help. Trust me. He's taking me out to lunch. I ain't taking him out to lunch.
But people have it backwards. They think that Donald Trump should buy lunch, when in essence, chances are you can't teach Donald Trump anything, but imagine what he could teach you.
Come as hair. Bob says, you say the islands have the best information. What are the island websites? What you're actually saying is that they have the best information. They have sharper imagine having a cheat sheet when you're taking a test, like, okay, well, I think the correct answer is this, but I'm seeing that. Maybe I'm missing something. Then you want to go to the key. This is your analysis as you're going through this.
Right. Pinnacle in the islands is great. I used to bet there until years ago. They said, the feds came in and said no one can bet. Okay, in the islands. But Pinnacle still, that's in the United States, but people, the biggest, baddest sports bettors on the planet, bet at Pinnacle. Why? Because they take the biggest action, okay, number one, and number two, reduced vig. See, again, the sports books in Las Vegas are whores. Instead of, it's one thing if it's minus $2 on a baseball game and plus 90, that's great. That's something that you're going to get in the islands. But in Vegas, it's going to be minus 210 plus 80. They're screwing you every which way. It's amazing. But you, as a sports bettor, to give yourself a fighting chance, you have to find value.
But I can explain that now, because they have nobody there internally with the skill set to know what they're doing.
No, what they do is they're not going to get patted on the back for winning the sports books,
but
he's going to get fired for taking a shot in gambling. So in defense of the sports book supervisor, but don't think that they're like, wow, these guys are geniuses. They're not. They just copy. And I have respect I treat everyone with dignity and respect, with the exception of valet people and ticket writers.
The exception.
Is that a new word?
The exception.
Speaking is my life. I'm going to have my own radio show one day.
I'm going to create a website now, expection.com, where we would disrespect valets and ticket writers. Come on. Hey, we've got about 8 minutes.
Do you really think
we haven't even spun the one
that cashier at the bank?
No, you goofball.
Or the ticket writer.
God, how do you get up at night? Or day? Or how do you do anything? Shut up. I'm not being respected by these people. No, I didn't say the ticket writers were smart, you goofball. I'm saying I thought they had somebody working for these properties who were setting the line themselves. I thought they were doing the analysis and going, okay, -7.
What they do, it's big money, man. Big money. So they're making decisions based on what money is coming in for their specific.
So what does this Jay guy do?
His responsibility is huge. He authorizes bets. He's keeping an eye on what's going on with all the. But you'd have to ask Jay. I'm not a sportsbook supervisor.
But you can guess. You deal with these guys all the time.
I do.
But seriously, they decide, okay, we're going to take this bet. So that's not a sports knowledge information.
Oh, that's right.
It's not. All it is a math information.
Of course.
It's we're getting
people way too much credit.
Yeah, well, I completely am.
And professional sports bettors really don't. You have to get along. You want to keep a low profile. That's why I have to be a little more respectful to valet people and to ticket writers.
What do you have against valet people?
The fact that, listen, I'm here 10 times a week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be right out. because I have to get to the next sports book. I want to be in and out.
Yeah.
I say, okay, we'll leave it up front. I come out. There's 10 people in line, and they park my car.
Did you tip them before you went in?
I tip them when I come back.
No,
and
you're
I'm there
doing it
every time.
backwards. You tip before they leave the car out. Have you not watched our show, Living in Las Vegas?
I've been
the longest-running Vegas-based podcast in the world. And have you not watched the part?
That's fine. Listen, you're missing the point. I know what you're saying, but it's totally irrelevant.
No, it's
because
not.
It saves them time. When every single day they park my car out front because they know I'm in, I'm out, I take care of them. They don't have to do anything to collect their money.
Yeah, they do.
No, they
don't. You got to park your car.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Because they're leaving it up front.
Leave it right there.
They have to park it if they forget to move it.
They can't just leave it right there. I've seen your car. They have to move it.
Ticket writers are a problem because they constantly, they're making $10 an hour and they're overpaid. All right, I can't tell you. I'm betting nickels and dimes, and I'll bet the over. They give me the under. I bet the Reds. They give me the.
Well, that's
Cubs.
a problem.
It is a problem.
I get that.
And what if? And then you have 10 people behind you, and they're like, "Hey, come on! I have to bet my $5 parlay." It's like, screw off, man. Go park my car. Now, I have
You're
my
kind of
ticket.
an elitist.
If I
Do you know that?
don't check
You're
my
a bit of an
ticket,
elitist.
and you're betting 1,100 to win 1,000, and I have a winner, it's a $2,100 swing. And when I say, "Listen, clown." You
I can see how everybody gets along with you so well. Hey, valet, you suck. Hey, ticket writer, you're a clown. Hey, person who wants to bet the $5 parlay, go piss off and get me a beer. I can see why you've got a lot of people who really kind of like hanging out with you.
When you say it like that.
Right? When you actually bring in reality to the description of all the ways I treat people in my day-to-day work, yes, you're right.
But
valet, just give them $2 before you go in, and they'll put your car off to the side.
No, you know what? Or you know what? I don't give you anything. And you don't have to do anything, and I'm going to pay you anyway when I come out. But if you want to go ahead and park it and then go get it.
See, I would park it just to piss you off. Because
I think that's what's happening.
Well, they should. They probably watch this show, realize, you know what? He doesn't respect us much. I think we're going to go park his car in the North 40. Where you playing? Over at I don't know, pick place. Red Rock? Cool. We're going to park at a Green Valley Ranch.
So I bet 1,100 to win 1,000, and they screw up my ticket, and I say, listen.
But can't you check
just
that?
It's a 20, and they don't even care. They'll take the ticket and they'll try to avoid it. Most of the time they will if the game isn't already a final.
How can you?
But they'll say, they don't even say I'm sorry.
Have you ever?
You know why? Because it happens all day, every day.
Well, so they're not very
last night I was at the sports book.
They were probably
a lady bet $40.
parkers.
The lady bet $40 and they screwed up her halftime ticket.
How do you do that? It doesn't even matter.
It does.
So when you get that,
because they don't listen. They don't.
So when you get your ticket back and you realize it's wrong.
I say, listen. Well,
what if you got it?
Choice words, I say, you just messed it up, and then the line moved. I say, yeah, no kidding. I wonder why it moved, and then I can't bet it
because you moved it.
It happens all the time.
Oh well, sorry. Well, we've got 4 minutes to do the rest of the show.
We have 6 segments to get in, and within 4 minutes. I decided 5 minutes into the show, this is a train wreck. No, we're not going to do that. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for the wheel.
All right, you've got.
We don't have time for. Are you kidding me?
Over.
No, we don't have time for that.
Okay,
it's a total we're derailment. You know what?
I
know people.
It's a pretty good show.
You can do whatever you want to do.
I like this.
So this is a new format.
I kind of like this.
It's called Winging It.
It's pretty good.
But you asked some very interesting questions.
Well, see,
I didn't say intelligent. I said interesting.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
But no, if you are wondering, and Bob is wondering, other people might be.
We all wonder. You realize that you speak a language that nobody understands other than the few people like you who run around doing this stuff. You get that, right?
Sí.
Como se le dice, le contente, tamola secunda.
Scrogbo, would you? Bumdadita?
As far as you know. As far as you know. I bet we had that drink this weekend.
Have you ever thought about doing comedy?
No. What I do is I write comedy, and then other people use my stuff and don't pay me for it.
Wait.
That's right. I should do what you said. Oh, my God. You told me not to do stuff for free. I think I've written 2 of probably your best jokes. What's the going rate for joke writing now?
How about
you would know, but what is the going rate?
I discovered that I can sell tickets to the comedy show. I sell free tickets for $10.
I've seen you do that too. Hey, come and watch our free show for you. $10.
And I get it.
I know you do. Did those people who went this last weekend, they paid?
Actually, I walked them in. Tickets are $30 at LA Comedy Club Bally's, and it's always a packed house. Now, because I do stand up there every Saturday, and occasionally I'm funny, I'm able to get comp in a select few. I comp in my friends. That's why I've always asked you to pay. Scott, we have to wrap things up. Any parting shots?
I don't like you anymore. This is hard work. It's not. It's actually pretty easy. Nice having you here.
Hey.
Nice being here.
Let's
do this again next time.
Scott Whitney, the executive producer, the owner-operator of Vegas Video Network.
And for that, I
Jacob
apologize.
Cannon is about ready to bust my chops once again. I love Jacob. I love Scott, and I especially love me. I'm the founder of Pritchard'sPicks.com. I'm also featured on VegasInsider.com, RefPicks.com. For Scott Whitney, Jacob Cannon, Al the board man, my name is Scott Pritchard. Mark Mayer from Gaming Today will be joining me tomorrow and every Tuesday. Lem Banker will be with me on Fridays. Good luck. Goodbye.